Welcome to the Art Students League of New York. We're here in the Phyllis Harriman Mason Gallery. I'm Dr. Ksenia Nouril, Gallery Director and Curator. This is my colleague, Esther Moerdler, Curatorial Assistant. Join us as we tour the exhibition, A League of Nations. A League of Nations celebrates the Art Students League as a creative nexus from artists from around the world. It celebrates the diversity of the League over our nearly 150-year history. This work, Filipina, A Racial Identity Crisis, is by the artist Ph.D. Ph.D. was born in the Philippines and immigrated to the United States in 1970. She enrolled at the Art Students League in 1977, studying with some of our most well-known instructors, including Robert Beverly Hale. She eventually became a life member. This is a lithographic print based on a trapunto, or a fabric-based quilt-like work that would be 2 or 3 times the size of this print. In the work, you see 2 women. These are 2 sides of Ph.D.'s own identity. In this composition, they appear here against fabric-like patterns that are bifurcated down the center. This symbolizes the artist's own bifurcation and multiple identity as she traversed the world as a global citizen. The theme of identity is so prevalent because these artists were immigrants. Here we might see it compositionally, for others we might see it expressionistically, but overall this is a major theme of A League of Nations. This sculpture is a portrait of Willem de Kooning by the artist Marisol. She's a quintessential global artist. She was born in Paris to Venezuelan parents, and then she moved between Caracas and New York, studying at the League first in 1954 with Yasu Kuniyoshi. Made in 1980 and exhibited in 1981 at New York City Janus Gallery, this sculpture is part of a larger series Marisol made of portraits of fellow artists. Here we see Willem de Kooning. He's most recognizable by his crazy white hair. What you also see here are 3 casts made directly from his hands. You can actually see all the wrinkles and indentations in his skin and his nails, as if the sculpture is about to come to life. The work is based on a famous photograph of de Kooning sitting in a very similar rocking chair that was the centerpiece of his studio. In our exhibition, A League of Nations, this work holds pride of place as our centerpiece. Along this wall, we see 3 very important works of contemporary art by Ai Weiwei, Billy Gerard Frank, and Sue Williamson. While there are a number of important historical works in this exhibition, to highlight these contemporary artists is equally important, because the League is an art school. We're teaching artists every day. Art is alive in our hallways and our studios, and these works echo that feeling. Sue Williamson is a British-born artist who immigrated to South Africa as a young child in 1948. She eventually found her way to New York in the 1960s, where she worked as a copywriter. She enrolled at the League, studying with many instructors, including Will Barnett and Seong Moy, who is also in this exhibition. This work is from the series Truth Games, which looks at instances around the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa after apartheid. Sue harkens back to her copywriter days, bringing together text from newspaper and image. In one work, there is both the voice of the victim as well as the voice of the perpetrator. Williamson welcomes the viewer to interact with this artwork, to reimagine the voices of the victim and the perpetrator in different ways, so as to think about the impact of these scenarios on our everyday lives today.
On this wall, we have 4 works by 3 different artists that explore the idea of the self and sight. Over here, we have a work by Serge Hallerbach, an artist who struggled with macular degeneration in the later years of his life. The artist, as he lost his sight, had to move further and further away from his realist practice of art making. In his later years, the works become abstracted forms and shapes of what he saw on the streets of New York. Artist Zhang Hongtu was born in Gansu, China in 1943. This work, A Walking Man, was created shortly after he moved to the United States in 1982. The artist was born to a Muslim family in China, and the Chinese government persecuted them heavily, moving them throughout the country. After the Cultural Revolution, he escaped to New York, so you could really see him struggling and processing through what he went through in China in this work here shortly after his move. The artist is still alive today, and his practice today is quite different from what you see behind me. In his work today, he brings together Chinese politics with American pop culture. Armenian artist Arshil Gorky was born in 1907 in the Ottoman Empire. He experienced the Armenian genocide with his family, in which his mother passed away, unfortunately, from hunger and starvation, and much of his work deals with his relationship with his mother and his family. This stunning work was created in 1937 and is of a mother and child, again referencing back his relationship with his family. The work incorporates colors that would be found in an Armenian rug, again referencing back to his heritage. It's a very intimate and sincere moment that really speaks to the artist's complex relationship with his own mother. Within our research for this exhibition, we found this beautiful print by Raphael Sawyer of the artist Arshil Gorky. Though Gorky did not officially attend the League, he was known to spend much time here in this very room, which was once a lounge. These works really encapsulate the relationships that were fostered here at the League. Chaim Gross was born at the turn of the century in Austrian Galicia. He and his family had to flee that area for the First World War, only to return there in 1915. The artist tried to study in an art school in Hungary, but was turned away as a Jewish student. He then moved here to the States in 1921 with his family, including his twin brother and younger brother, one of which also studied here at the League. Chaim Gross not only studied at the League, but also taught here for many years and was a very influential teacher in sculpting. Although we could see here behind me that before the artist sculpted his pieces, he also sketched them out. So we have both the hand of the artist in the form of a work on paper as well as in a sculptural work. We only discovered the connection between these 2 works recently. Upon a visit to the Chaim Gross Foundation, we realized that the sculpture matched one of the drawings within our collection. And it really is amazing, especially bringing them back here to the League where the artist taught for so many years.
Returning to the theme of identity, we have these 2 portraits. While not necessarily a self-portrait, this topiary by Louise Bourgeois definitely explores identity through the body. It's particularly poignant because it was a gift from Bourgeois, a League student, to her friend Phyllis Krim, who was also a League student. The portrait of Saul Berman by Raphael Sawyer also explores identity through the body. You see the sitter looking directly into the viewer with extreme rawness, giving himself over. Behind him, you see his canvases stacked against the wall. He is just an artist after a long day's work. Thank you for joining us on this tour of A League of Nations, which celebrates the diversity of the League. It's been such an honor to bring these artists together in our gallery, and we hope you enjoyed the exhibition. Please stay tuned to our future programming. The League's doors are always open.